rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
Yeah, the House of Representatives actually had a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, but they didn't have a moment of silence for the school shooting that happened that same day. They didn't have a moment of silence for all the other shootings and school shootings that's been happening across this country. I think for the year we've had, I don't want to lie, but I think we've had from 30 to 50 school shootings or mass shootings this year alone. No moment of silence. Only thoughts and prayers, remember? But they actually stopped work in Congress to have a moment of silence for this guy. And there was some ruckus after the moment of silence, but I wouldn't have given him a moment of silence. I would not have given him a moment of silence. I would have snapped my fingers, tapped my toes, made some kind of noise. They would have to have censored me or given me some kind of reprimand because I would not have stayed silent. And you ask me why would I have stayed silent? This is what Charlie Kirk said about the Second Amendment. And he threw in cars and accidents to make his point.
Be real. We must be honest with the population. Having an armed citizenry comes with a price. Wow. And that is part of liberty. Wow. Driving comes with a price. 50,000 people die on the road every year. Wow. That's a price. You get rid of driving, you'd have 50,000 less auto fatalities. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
He is okay with having gun-related deaths in this country, reducing them, but nonetheless having them just to keep his Second Amendment rights. I'm going to assume that he didn't mean him. He also said this on the day that he was unalived. What I mean by that is, these were his last words.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Now, and again, my conspiracy is that guy that asked him the question need to be questioned because it's a coincidence that that guy was talking about or asked a question about school shootings and then he gets shot at a school. So he needs to be investigated too. But the man was asking about shootings at schools. And what did Charlie Kirk do? He knew and understood that school shootings mostly happen because of a white kid going and shooting up a school. Instead of addressing that, he had to go to gang violence because gang is another word for urban, which is another word for DEI, which is another word for affirmative action, which is another word for the N-word, which is another word for black people. So he had to go to gang violence to say, okay, counting or not counting gang violence, because that would distract you and throw you off the initial question. This is who the man was. And he had made money from it. He had profited from this. And to add on to it, you got Fox News and all the conservatives out there saying they are ready for a war now. This is the opening salvo to a war now. Someone even said civil war. This is what the right wanted. I don't care about the race of the shooter, the political affiliation of the shooter. I don't care. They don't care. They just want the war. And they're going to use Charlie to get it. They were trying to use him before he passed away. Now he's a martyr. What do you think?